Hope you're doing well. So this is just the penultimate day. Tomorrow is the last day. So we'll do only one tutorial today. So the lectures end today. The last 3 lectures which will end today. Okay. There is a slight change in the tutorials. विक्रांत जी, there will be a slight change. Tutorials में थोड़ा change है. जो कल का plan हुआ था वो आज होगा. जो आज है वो कल करेंगे. Okay. That is simply because my student. So I want to do a 1 hour of kind of like a Zoom call from US. One of my PhD students wants to demonstrate few things. For them, if we do between 4 and 5 p.m. today tutorials, that will be like 6:30 in the morning. But if we do tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock here, that will be like middle of the night, like 3 o'clock or something for them. So they can't come to the lab at the time. So what we'll do is today's tutorial, we'll do it tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow's tutorial, which is about automation, sensors and microcontrollers, we'll do today. So between 3 and 4, I'll give you some introduction on that. What exactly is going to show and what is that automation process, kind of logic, things like that. Then he's going to come in, join on the Zoom, and probably I'll take some help. I have already the Zoom link which I have to send it, but I hope that we can see him on this. He's probably going to put his camera on and talk to us. But I'll be standing here while he's talking, so I'll clarify things. He's from South Korea. He speaks English, but he's also not, really, as fluent because they don't speak English in South Korea. He just got it, while he was in the United States. So, but he speaks well, and so you should be comfortable with him. So, other student who I wanted to also participate, she could not because there is some other thing that she has to go on. Okay. But that's the plan for tutorials. Tomorrow's today, today's tomorrow. With respect to lectures, there are 3 lectures today. Vertical farming is the first one. Then we have an introduction to digital agriculture and what the digital agriculture can actually do, especially in the greenhouse context. And then the last one is about automation using microcontrollers, IoT devices, things like that. Now I understand that it can get complicated, so I put those slides in very simple format. There could be a small program here and there. Don't worry too much about it. Okay, I just want to explain, what that is, how it's going to generally look like. Okay, so let's do that. We can go slowly today, and we can finish all 3 lectures with some gaps also. Okay, so let's start with vertical farming. Now remember, there are agricultural platforms. So what is a platform? For example, field crop production is one platform. Greenhouse is another platform. Okay. Likewise, a third platform is vertical farming. There are different platforms. Field crop production outside, that's one method. Platform is nothing but a method, right? Greenhouse production is another method. Vertical farming is another method, third method. Now, people kind of get confused between hydroponics, greenhouse, vertical farming. I want to tell you that hydroponics is a method of growing crops. You can use hydroponics in greenhouse. You can use hydroponics in vertical farming. In fact, I have seen people doing hydroponics even outside also, open air. So don't get confused with hydroponics as a platform. The platform is at a higher level. Field, greenhouse, vertical farming, at least those 3 platforms are there. Okay. Now this is not related to greenhouse, but I still want to talk about this chapter because this is becoming very important. People are growing crops in big cities and using this technology, and there is a great potential for this, both for commercial and also in communities. So I'm going to talk about those things in this particular chapter. Very easy chapter, lot of good pictures. Okay, so you can ask me questions about that. All right. So this is not related to greenhouse platform, but you can actually use all those things you learned about light, temperature, water, nutrients, recirculation, hydroponics, all those things that you learned also get employed here. It's just the difference is that in greenhouse, natural light is what is the major source for crops, although you add some supplemental light. 85 to 90% of the light that comes through the greenhouse is from sunlight. Here, you don't get any sunlight. It's totally artificial, 100% artificial. You grow plants in a room like this. There is no sunlight. It's indoor vertical farming. People use this term vertical farming, but there are also other terms. But the correct term, it is called indoor vertical farming. So indoor means inside. In indoors, you can grow horizontally or you can grow vertically. So this is indoor vertical farm, that's what it is, okay? Or you can call it indoor farming and then specify growing vertically. I will give an example of indoor horizontal farming. For example, crop like cannabis. Cannabis is, hemp, cannabis, right? So cannabis is grown indoors because you need to confine cannabis production. It's very, very important, right? Government regulations require you grow inside confined areas, but it is grown horizontally because those plants are tall. Indoor horizontal example for that, okay? I've seen indoor tomato production horizontally. So only vertical farming is good for small crops like leafy greens, strawberries, things like that, okay? All right, so now I understand what those platforms are, what is hydroponics, how you can put hydroponics in all these platforms, and kind of, so I want to just give you a big picture of what we are talking to, right? Let's start with this chapter. So what is vertical farming, right? The method of growing crops at multiple stack levels using artificial environmental conditions to increase crop productivity, reduce water use, and enable year-round production and availability of fresh food in and near urban areas and regions where crop production is severely limited by climatic conditions. Very long definition, right? 4 lines, 5 lines. But what it is basically telling is, you grow crops in 100% artificial environment, but this technology is most useful in urban areas. Don't use this technology in countryside where is a lot of land is there. This technology is only used in urban areas where there is no land. Why do you want to grow in urban areas? Because that's where the demand is. That's where people are. That's where fresh food is needed. That's where more sales of crops can happen because people need food, right? So rather than growing in farther areas, rather than growing outside and shipping the food, and in doing so you lost the post-harvest quality, right? Rather than doing that, you want to grow food in urban areas where people are living, so you can harvest the same day and send the food to local markets so people can get really fresh foods, healthy fresh foods. But this technology also uses hydroponics, so it saves water, okay, it reduces wastage of nutrients, it provides job opportunities in urban areas for people, unemployed people. There are a lot of unemployed people in urban areas, so it provides job opportunities. One thing that it's not showing on this definition is that this technology can also be used for benefit of communities. For example, if there is a small school, in fact, I do this research in schools too. What we do in my program is, in addition to helping the commercial growers, we also set up small indoor production systems in schools. In the United States, schools provide lunch program, right? It is in every public school and every private school you will find lunch programs. They get the lunch from outside and they give the lunch to students, right? But what we are trying to teach students is that they should eat healthy. Salads are very, very healthy. They should consider eating salads every day. And rather than growing outside, students can actually grow salad crops in their schools. In doing so, they learn how to grow. When you grow something by your own methods, you touch the plants and you take care of them, you start liking towards them. So their interest towards salads can increase because of that. And then they harvest and they give those salads to the kitchen in the school, and the chef in the kitchen prepares salads for the students from the same product they have grown in the schools. So this is also a very good program. So there are a lot of old people who can't do much big jobs, they can't go outside. We are establishing systems like this in their homes so they can grow food and sell locally a little bit in their communities. Okay. We're also helping some old people to just grow small quantities of food in their homes. So, COVID times, it was a big problem. We couldn't get fresh food. People can't go outside, right? So, these kind of things, growing leafy greens in their own homes under artificial lights in more scientific way, producing healthy foods, this was a very, very useful, very, very attractive thing for, home growers. So, you learn about those home hydroponic systems in tomorrow's activity, okay? We'll focus more on the commercial aspects of this indoor farming today, okay? But all of those are benefits of it, okay? This alternate system of crop production may offer a solution to producing fruit in the face of global warming in the future. Now, think of places like Alaska. Alaska is a very cold place, or Russia, or in top of Himalayas, something like that, where there is no proper sunlight. It's very cold, windy, there's no water, but let's say there are people there. They need food, right? So you can ship food from, the other part of the country, but it's going to cost them a lot, right? Shipping costs them. This is the technology that you can use to grow food even in harsh climates, because it's completely indoors. Very little exposure to outside environment. No matter how that outside environment is there, you can actually control indoors and provide a reasonably optimum environment for crop growth using this technology. And that's why it is so important. Global warming happens, water becomes shortage, temperatures go high, even in India. Good morning. Even in India, temperatures can go high. Then what do? I mean, food crops are probably going to fail in summer. Vegetable crop production goes down. Prices go up in summer. Already they're going up. Under such situations, of course, greenhouse offers an alternative platform where you are able to control some environmental variables, right? You can't control totally light because it depends on sunlight, but you can control a little bit of rain, or you may be able to reduce the temperature, cool the greenhouse. But this offers complete control. Okay, you can actually maintain pretty tight environmental control if you have good technology used in these systems. So there are a lot of benefits of vertical farming. Okay, so there are different models. Many models came across, and these are used across the world in many countries. Look here, this is Japan. What they are doing is they are using a simple warehouse model. Warehouse is nothing but, D-Mart or some other grocery shops. There are some grocery shops that are no longer in business, but they have created sort of like a warehouse, empty warehouse. So what people are doing is they are renting or buying those unused warehouses and setting up systems like this and growing crops. We'll talk about what those systems are, how to set up everything in activity. Don't worry too much, but that's a warehouse model. You see here, this is Germany, in Berlin. This is actually a grocery store. This is a place where people go and buy vegetables. But right there, they have a system where they're producing leafy greens. So people actually can take that right away, as fresh as possible, isn't it? Whatever is ready, you don't have to even send it somewhere else. People go there, they buy the tray and take with them. So these systems are actually indoor systems. See, it's completely artificial, isn't it? Sunlight there is no sunlight. It is inside a room. It's inside a shop, right, where people come and buy vegetables. Right there, they're growing, and they can just take it from there, either put it in here, or people can buy from there. That's another model. It's called in-store model. It's inside the store. These are more modular units. These units are like basically like a lorry, a truck. It's a long, 40 feet long, completely enclosed unit. These units can be arranged one after the other. They sell modular, means one unit, one by one unit. Okay, but you can see here, the plants are again grown in artificial light. We have some of these systems with us. There are different types inside here too. You can walk inside. For some systems, you can actually go inside that 40 feet length, take care of your plants. In other systems, what happens is, you see these plants, they are on a roller belt. They come all the way from back to the front every hour. So the plants are going on a roller, they go all the way to the back, and then they come forward, back and forward. When they are up front, you can take a look at the plants or harvest the plants. Okay, that's another model. Okay, see, this is Singapore. This is a greenhouse based model, isn't it? This is a greenhouse, but they're growing vertically inside a greenhouse. It's a tall greenhouse, right? It's a tall greenhouse, but rather than growing in one level, what they are doing in Singapore lacks space. Singapore city, Singapore country is one thing. It's probably the size of Mumbai. That's it. The country is the size of Mumbai. And they don't have space, huge population, rapid growth. So they want to grow more food inside their urban areas. And so they've gone for this. The reason why they are doing this is that Singapore is pretty close to equator. They got plenty of sunlight. So they want to utilize the sunlight. So they decided, okay, let's do in a greenhouse. Let's build a tall greenhouse and have multiple levels of plants, multi-stacked levels. But then the problem comes, right? The plants at the top level get a lot of sunlight, but then the other ones are kind of getting shaded, right? So what they do is they also rotate these levels. They keep going up and down. So all the plants get equal opportunity to get sunlight from the top. Okay, that's one model. See, these are a container model, simple container model, very similar to this modular unit, but you can see here you can open the door, this is the closed one. Once you open the door, you can actually get inside. The plants are grown vertically. Remember the one system I've shown you, the vertical hydroponic system that you actually use the vertical space yesterday class. That's what these are. These systems are used to grow plants vertically. So you walk inside, you take care of the plants. It's completely automated fertigation system. You can control temperature, light, everything. You can actually control the quality of the light. See, in all these systems, some of the systems you see, what color of light? Why purple? What do we talk about purple? What is purple? Purple is red and blue. It's the most useful, composition, right? 15% blue, 85% red. That's what that is. That's why they are using that color to grow leafy greens. Okay. So different systems. Okay. Warehouse is the most popular one. Commercial systems is warehouse models are most popular, but there are also other models too. These are also popular. Each of these units contain a farm. That farm is 40 feet long by 9 feet wide by probably 12 feet tall. That costs about $150,000 approximately. $150,000. So it's a very expensive systems. Initial investment is pretty high in indoor farms. Okay. On top of that, operational costs are also high, and I'm going to talk more about that later. So here are some other interesting. So those are commercial systems, but look at this. This is a small restaurant in a city it's close to where I live. The city is called Indianapolis. So I went to this restaurant in the city, and as soon as I got inside, I saw the system. See, the chef, the one who prepares food, is standing here, and as I go inside, he asked me, "Sir, what salad do you want to eat?" Then I'm looking at where is the menu. He said, "There's no menu, sir. You pick up whatever you want from this." So I want that color. I want that. He pulls the plants, prepares salad in front of you, gives it to you. Very attractive to people, right? Very attractive to people, right? Right there, fresh product. So high-end restaurants are doing that. This is actually my own research in one of the small elementary school there. These are, third graders, fourth grade children, and we put these systems in the small school. You see, tiny kids are small, right? We don't want tall systems, right? Just 3 feet, 4 feet tall systems. You can now identify this is a production tray. What is that production system called? Yesterday you saw this. What is the name of that? Is it NFT? No. What is it? Is it deep water culture? There was a third one I said. What was that? Constant flood tables, right? That is what it is. It's kind of like hybrid between deep water culture and NFT. Simple system. Here is a reservoir, right? And there's a pump inside. The reservoir holds what? Nutrient solution. It is pumping and coming back, pumping and coming up. Simple systems. We buy local available materials. We don't buy anything commercial. We buy the shelves from locally available materials. We buy reservoirs online, trays online, sheets online, net parts, everything online. We put the systems together and we install them. And this is how, how good the plants came out for when the children grew this. They participated all the way from sowing to harvest. During that time, every day they go and they spend 1 hour with these plants. They collect data, how tall these plants are, how the germination has changed, how big the plants have become, things like that. So it's kind of scientific way they were doing it at young age, but we also teach them in the afternoons, what do plants need, why should they eat leafy greens, what nutrients are there, things like that. When they get this type of experiential learning for 2 to 3 months in their schools, that's when they start liking those leafy greens. Their attitudes towards healthy eating will change. In India now you see all these fast food restaurants, everything, all those fast food restaurants from Western world, they are here. And I will say strong right in front of the mic, doesn't matter. These fast food restaurants are one of the big reasons why health is being spoiled. They have the food that you eat in these fast food restaurants, it has got a lot of salt, a lot of calories, a lot of energy, and all kinds of, I don't know what type of oils they use. What it does only one thing, it makes you obese, fat. You lose a lot of healthy things like, there could be problems related to heart health, there could be problems related to blood pressure, cognitive health. End of the day, it puts pressure on the medical system. People get sick. You need more doctors, you need more medical system. All of those problems circle one after the other. What is the solution for that? You have to change attitudes of people. If I simply stand here and give a lecture, you will listen to me and go away, there is no, you'll forget about it. But you have to make changes at that young level. When children are in 3rd or 4th grade, that's where their mind should shift towards healthy eating. And so what we are doing is, we are not going and giving a lecture there. We are actually giving them an experiential learning. They touch the plants, they sow the seeds, they harvest, they learn about the plants. If they keep on doing that, their interest towards those plants will increase. That's when they start eating more salads. So that's what we are doing. It has nothing to do with commercial aspect, isn't it? It is for the community benefit. But what systems are we using? Indoor production systems, right? There are lights right here. You can see there's a light bar there. There's a light bar there, light bar there. Okay, there's another example. Okay, this is one of our own research labs. This is a small growth room right below my office in the basement, where we can actually grow plants at different light treatments. You see here, there's a purple light, white light, green light, blue light, different crops been grown. We kind of develop best practices for indoor farming in this research. This is another example. So a lot of advantage. Hospitals, we can set up systems. Low income housing people, poor people, where they can't get access to good healthy food, we can set up these cheap systems so they can grow food in their own communities and get healthy stuff. Socially disadvantaged people, people who have problems in the society, somewhat backward, and they can't access everything, they don't have money, they can use these systems. Veterans, military people who got some injuries in war, they can't do anything. Of course government provides support, but they want to do something, but they have some disadvantage, right? But these systems are easy to work with. We can set them these systems in their own homes so they can produce something and make some money. Nice stuff, right? With disabilities, that's exactly what it is. So all kinds of good stuff can happen, not just commercial, but also at a community scale. These systems are so useful. That's why indoor farming is so important. Yesterday somebody asked me the question, what is the yield difference between outside and inside? So here is some actual data. Now this is from field. Okay, I'm looking at iceberg lettuce. The average yield is about 0.86 pounds per square feet. Okay, this is coming from a University of California in Davis. Lettuce is a big crop in California, where I actually went for a postdoctoral fellowship. So they grow in the field, and the yield is 0.86 pounds per square feet. That's what you get outside. But here is my own research where we grow lettuce. This is for one level, just for one level. We have multiple levels, by the way. In one level, butterhead lettuce pretty close to that, romaine slightly lower, red leaf lettuce about that, and green leaf is actually more. So you get a mixed response. On an average, if you take the average of all these four, they're pretty close to that number. So you are getting yields as close as possible to the field, but that is just at one level. Now you can grow, let's say 10 levels. That's 10 times more yield in this system compared to the field. I told you that it also uses just a third of the water compared to field. So you also save big on water too, right? That's the advantage. That's the point here. Big savings on water. Okay. So for example, you can see here, to finish a lettuce crop, or even spinach, or amaranth, some of the leafy greens, vertical farms take approximately 90 to 100 liters per meter square. Okay, that's the amount of water you need to grow. But whereas for the field you need 350 to 370 liters per meter square. This is actually research data. Okay, people claim something really big that is not true. People say that in vertical farms you can save, you just need 5% of the water compared to the field, but that's not true. You actually need to give plants about a third of the water. That's what this number, you see, this number is a third of this number is a third of this number, right? Almost a third. That's what it is. Okay, so that means you can save almost 70 to 70% of water compared to field crops. Okay, for example, this is a hypothetical example. Let's say you don't grow lettuce in the field at all. You only grow lettuce only in vertical farms. We did some calculations, and these many gallons are in times 4 many liters of water can be saved every year if you just grow lettuce in vertical farms. This is the reason why these vertical farms are becoming so popular in Middle Eastern countries, which is basically a desert. There is no water there, and that number is so attractive for them. They have money, they have a lot of sunlight, but they don't have water. They import 95 to 98% of food from outside. This technology is Big farms are coming, like huge billions of dollars investments. Big airline companies are involved. Emirates is a big airline company. They have their own kind of vertical farm in Saudi Arabia, right? Sorry, United Arab Emirates. But that's an advantage. Water savings. Number one advantage of vertical farming is water savings. But there is a problem here with this industry, and that's something probably I will spend some more time. This industry is being challenged. Greenhouse industry is profitable at this stage, but vertical farming has a lot of challenges, and that shows you what the problem is. You see, look at this electricity costs, 21% of the total cost, a big number, big number. Labor is also there, 28%. Okay, depreciation is a big thing. You put a lot of money initially, within 5 or 10 years, the value goes down significantly, isn't it? Depreciation. But the major issue is this: electricity. You use artificial lights, you use electricity for temperature control, right? You have to use electricity even to get some humidity control, fans, things like that. All of that's going to cost. Electricity costs are very high. Because of that, they are being challenged by field production. Field production, there is nothing like that. So you can produce the same amount of crop in the field, but at a lower cost. So they actually compete a lot. These people have to sell their product at much higher level to even see the profit margin. And that's one of the challenges where several vertical farms are actually closing. And this one side, this technology is so good, so important for global warming, for communities and in urban areas. But on the other side, it is not being profitable. So people are investing a lot of money. Big companies are coming in, putting in money and running this business. But within 3 or 4 years, they are not seeing profits. It's called venture capitals, right? VC. What they do is, because it requires a lot of money, some big companies, established companies, not in agriculture, but in other areas, they bring in, they give the money to a group of, they form a board and they come together, they invest money and they probably hire, people who are familiar with this technology and start running the business. 3 or 4 years later, they see that there's not much money, so they pull the money, the farmer shut down. It is happening in many places in the United States. There are only few places this technology is kind of successful, okay? Especially, where the labor is cheaper or where they can supplement some of the sunlight, things like that. But that is the number one challenge. So most of the research in this field is related to how can we reduce that cost, electricity cost. What can we do? Of course, there are LED lights. What is the benefit of LED lights?
So we get the favorable spectrum of light. It is blue.
But in terms of electricity cost, what is the benefit?
It saves energy as compared to
Operational costs are less, electric costs are less. So LED lights is what we use. We know that. But still, what is the disadvantage of LED lights?
so to produce the same amount of light.
No, not that. In terms of, I'm talking about money. They are expensive to start with, right? 3 to 4 times more expensive. So we are trying, engineering people are trying to bring down the cost. The cost of LEDs have significantly came down in the last decade. It may take another 5 years before the LEDs even become inexpensive. Solar energy, alternative source of energy is becoming very popular. But maybe in another 5-10 years that may become even cheaper. So maybe this technology is for future. It just came out sooner. Maybe 10-15 years down the line, this technology is probably going to be so important. Maybe it can be profitable. But I think we should start now, identify the problems, develop solutions for the future. So I think this still holds a big promise, especially in the face of global climate change. But research has to be done in this area. Okay. So let's look at what factors affect profits in indoor or vertical farms. There are 4 factors. Okay. The first one is crop productivity. You have to produce more. The units are kilograms per meter square. Okay. This presentation is kind of those numbers are not looking good. This is meter square, and I don't know why. It's probably the screen size. It's happening like that. But crop productivity, then electrical energy use efficiency. You should increase the efficiency, meaning you should produce more for every unit of electricity used in crop production. That's called energy use efficiency. You have to also do added crop value. Somebody asked you, I think you asked nutritive quality, right? So let's say I produce lettuce, I have competition from the field, but in indoor farming, because I can tweak, optimize, customize light quality, what benefits can I get by increasing red light or UV light a little bit? I can increase secondary metabolites, nutrients. So let's say I produce lettuce or spinach with 10% more of vitamins. I told you that in order to get profits in vertical farming, I have to sell my produce for a higher price because my operational costs are high. But people are not going to buy for a higher price, especially when they have a produce from field which is being sold at a lower price. So how can I get a higher price? You have to attract consumers. How can you attract consumers? Maybe the younger generation, the Z Zen, or whatever you call X generation, whatever that is, Gen Z, right? If you provide crop, if you produce a crop with more vitamins, more healthy, no pathogens, no food, high food safety levels, but more amount of nutrients, things like that, and then you sell it, maybe people will buy. People are willing to pay more simply because, oh, I get more from that. People will only pay more when they get more from that. So you have to give more, and that is something you can do. You can add value. You can't do outside in the field. You can't add some other new light quality because that's going to be quite impossible expensive, right? But in indoor farm, you can change the light quality. You can add a little bit of more blue light. You can add a little bit of more red light, whatever you want with those LED lights, and in doing so you can change or alter the levels of those nutrients in the plants and increase them. When you increase them, you show the data to consumers and they say, wow, if I buy this product, even though it is costing 100 rupees or 200 rupees more, it is giving a lot more nutrients, so I maybe get attracted towards it, right? If you sell a crop telling that we have data, 100% will prove it. If anybody can prove a single pathogen, bacteria on top of that, it's free for them. You challenge them like that and people are going to get attracted. That's called added value, added crop value, okay? And the last one is energy cost itself. Government has to come up with solutions where you pay less for every electrical unit that you buy. And that one of the examples is solar panels. So though these are basically the 4 areas of research for vertical farming, broad categories of where people are doing research. They are either increasing productivity, some of them are used in energy use and they're doing research on energy use efficiency. Some of them, in fact, we in my lab we do research on almost all these 3. This is beyond us. This is more so with the government, with the engineers, with the solar panel developers, things like that. But these are the 4 factors. So this is where the active research is happening in the Western world. Okay. So I'm going to show you some examples of our own research very quickly. So I said crop productivity is one factor, right? You can see here by just growing plants with optimum amount of light. You recognize those numbers at the top. Less than 10 moles, 10 to 15 moles per meter square per day. What is a mole? Mole is the total integral light, right? Total amount of light. So you can see the difference in the same varieties, how they grow, if you just give them a little bit more light. So you can enhance crop productivity simply by making sure that you are giving the right amount of light, right amount of nutrients, temperature, all those things, the factors that you learn, water, temperature, nutrients, things like that. As long as you know how to do that, you actually can get higher crop productivity. You can get more weight per unit area. Okay. In terms of energy use efficiency, a little bit small formula involved here. Energy use efficiency, EUE, I told you energy use efficiency is how much can you produce kilograms for every unit of electricity. That's energy use efficiency. You produce more for every unit of electricity, your efficiency is high. That same thing is divided into 2 subunits. This is called photon efficiency, and you heard about this term, right? Let's get back to that. And this is called light use efficiency. But let's talk about photon efficiency. What is photon efficiency? How much light you can get for every unit of electricity that light fixture consumes. Remember the photon efficiency graph I've showed you? For LEDs, the photon efficiency is like 2.1, 2.4, something like that. As the photon efficiency increases, what benefit do you get? I think some of you, maybe if you try looking into your notes in the light chapter, there is a graph that shows the relationship between photon efficiency and electricity costs. As the photon efficiency increases, the electricity costs significantly drop. And we are asking the photon efficiency to be higher than 2.0 to get that benefit. Okay, so that is one factor. Photon efficiency is one of the things that affect energy use efficiency. Higher the photon efficiency, higher energy use efficiency. This is engineering. This is built into the light. The engineer should come up with lights that produce, or fixtures that produce more light for every unit of electricity, kilowatt hours. So this is not biology, this is engineering. Okay, so energy use efficiency is affected by engineering aspects, but also by plant biology. Light use efficiency is related to plant biology. What is light use efficiency? How much you can produce for every mole of light. All right. So now you know what light composition can do, right? You can have the same intensity of light, but you have different amounts of red, blue, and green. You can alter crop productivity. Remember, I showed you a big picture where there were three types of light: purple light, white light, and then broad spectrum light. And I've shown you how the plant sizes and color change. So you can play with that light quality and change this light use efficiency. You can get more crop for every mole of light. This is related to plant biology. This is related to us as plant scientists. We can increase this, but this is related to engineering aspects. Both of them combined is what energy use efficiency. Okay, you can also see the units here: kilograms per kilowatt hour, right? If you multiply these two, moles and moles get cancelled. What do you get? Kilograms per kilowatt hour. I just took this term, energy use efficiency, and I split into two terms. One is for engineering aspects, the other is for plant biology aspects, just to give a better understanding of what the term is. When you know this, then you can actually start doing research on this area and enhance energy use efficiency. Okay, that's all it is, simple. Then about added value, I talked about added value, things that increase consumers' interest. What are those things? Freshness. They should be locally grown. People like it. If you grow locally and if the crop is looking very fresh, people want to buy it. Flavor, taste. When you eat something, it should be tasty. If you eat spinach and it's so sour, you don't want to buy it, right? So flavor and taste. Sometimes for leafy greens, the crispiness is also. I mean, when you chew it, it should be crispy for salads. If it is soft and people don't even want to eat that salad, they think it's already old, right? So crispiness. Pesticide free, no pesticides. You're eating fresh, you don't want any pesticides on the crop, right? Organic. Yesterday we talked about organic. There's a preference for organic nature. It should be safe. No bacterial contamination, nothing. These are all the quality traits people, consumers like. By the way, these are all coming from a survey of some 2,000 consumers. They rated what are the things that they like, in salads. Color is something people like. Red color, purple color leaves, they like it. The color is important because it has got some antioxidants in it, right? But people also like the color. If you just give a green salad bowl, just green color, it's okay. But if you mix that with some red and purple color leaves, people like it. Okay. Texture and also nutritional quality. Those are all the things that people like. So you can do research in any of these areas and increase these things. That is only going to add to added value. It's only going to increase the profits. Then about the energy cost itself, look at this. This is from United States. What you are looking at is the residential and the commercial aspects. So commercial means business related, residential is houses, like in our homes. And you are looking at cost of solar energy. Okay, solar energy from 2010 to 2020. You see how much it has. This is the cost of solar energy. It costs 10 cents today for a unit of electricity from if it is coming from solar panels. 10 cents. About 10 years back, it was 50 cents. So a significant reduction has happened. Same goes here to 40 cents to almost 8 cents today in terms of commercial aspects. So solar energy is improving a lot every day. You can invest in the solar panels, 20 to 25 return on that one. And we are paying, you can pay pretty low. But the thing is this, in 10 more years, it comes down to estimated number is about even half of today's cost. And I think that's when the electricity becomes so cheap, at least in the United States. I told you electricity costs 21% of the operational cost. If that electricity cost drops from 8% to 4%, those operational costs should theoretically be also halved. 10%, that's a big benefit. That 10% is what profits are. That's a good checkbox, right? But we need to wait probably 10 more years for that to happen. The government should promote research into solar energy, solar panel development, that type of technology. Government should favor this side of renewable energy. Some governments don't, some governments do, but that all depends on that. There should be a lot of promotion, subsidies. People should be willing to take solar panels, especially in a country like this where there's a bright sunlight. Where I come from, I only get about half of the brightness in sunlight. Here in this country, you get a lot more brighter sunlight simply because you're closer to the equator. So that technology is probably more profitable here. Okay, so that's something that has to happen, and when that happens, when that falls down to half of today's price, I think vertical farms are going to benefit a lot. Here this picture, I just put some numbers here. I'm not going to explain this. It's simple calculation, but read through this. Again, this will tell you what you need, how much of solar panels do you need, and how much it's going to cost you, and how much return you're going to get. If you follow these steps, you will easily go through this calculation. It's not a big deal at all. But that's just for your calculation. In case if you're interested in solar panels, you need to know, right, what is the size of the solar panel? If I take this size, how much electricity will it generate, how much it's going to cost, and how many years it will take for me to recover that cost, right? That's what this slide is about. Simple math calculations, okay? Spend some time on that when you have, if you are interested. So that's that chapter, okay? So we are about, let's take about 10 minutes break, okay? And then reconvene here, but let it be 10 minutes, okay? Please come back in 10. Like 10:40, we'll start the next chapter on digital agriculture.